I'm Ken and welcome back to the Thrifty Apprentice Studio. In this video, we will take our very first look at watercolor crayons on this channel. About a week ago, I shared a painting done from crayons on the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook page and in a few of the watercoloring groups asking if you guys would be interested in a tutorial. I'm happy to say that the response was an overwhelming yes, which brings us to today's video. So, you may be asking yourself, what exactly are watercolor crayons? Well, they are water-soluble sticks that are a unique cross between drawing and painting. That's my definition anyway. After the pigment is laid down, you can add water, causing the color to disperse and turn into watercolor paints. As a side note, I really want to take this time to thank each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel and supporting. Your likes and comments and seeing the notifications go off that you've subscribed really brings a very positive light to my days. With that said, let's go ahead and look at what we're going to be doing in today's video. So I decided what we would do first as an introduction with the crayons is for me to show you guys a few of the techniques that I've become familiar and comfortable with using while working with this particular medium. So for particularly, that's dry on wet, wet on wet, to use them straight from the palette, and that's where you basically kind of make your palette. Ceramic, I use this clear kind of plastically glass palette that I've shown you guys in previous videos, and you just kind of lay the color down on the palette like so, and then you can use your brush and use it just like paint. And then of course there's dry on dry. So after we run through the techniques that I have lined on our watercolor paper here, we're also going to be doing a little quick painting with the crayons, and I've already sketched out a landscape here, and it's just going to be something that we use the dry on dry and wet on wet and dry on wet techniques with on this particular painting. So let's take a look here and see what the different techniques look like. And I think I better use a black crayon to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. So first, for the dry on dry, let's do that one first. And I am just going to grab a piece of chalk here because it will dissolve when water hit it. And I'm just going to sketch in. I've got something on the paper there. Sorry, guys. I'm going to sketch in a little miniature landscape here. I'm sure you guys have figured out by now that after watching several of my videos that I'm more of a landscape flower artist. And I'm not going to do too much. I'm just putting in a horizon there. We're just going to kind of wing it, the rest of the way. So I'll grab the lightest blue crayon I have here, and this is light blue. And the product that I'm using today is Faber Castell 15-piece watercolor crayon set, which I will be doing a review on coming up on the channel. So you guys be sure to stay tuned for that. But I'm just going to take this light blue crayon, and I am literally going to color my background. I'm going to be lighter down towards my horizon, and I'll add more pigment towards the top. And when doing this technique, I personally like to color everything in first before I come back and add the water. So I'm just going to lay that down like that. And then I will use the brown, or dark brown is the name of this particular color, for our ground. And I'll just add that right up under the horizon. And we'll just make that all land. We'll keep it really simple. I'll add a little of the ochre to that. And the thing I love about these, especially doing the dry on dry, is you can color directly on top of the layer you've already laid down in order to add more dimension or shadows to your painting. So I really love that particular thing that you can do with it. And now, just because we weren't going to do too much, I'm going to grab a number 4 round. Just any number 4 round you have. And we're going to go in and I'm going to start at the top. And I'm just going to add water to the darker part. Now, as you can see, once water hits the crayon, it dispenses the pigment into the water, creating a very watercolory effect look. We're just gonna add water and go ahead and get this sky shaded in. And as you can see, where I did the darker pressure, the heavier pressure, creating a darker shade, it stays dark. And as I come down into where I use lighter pressure for the lighter shade, it gets lighter and washes out more. I'm gonna rinse my brush and come down to my land, and using the brush in the same direction and motion, I'm just gonna drag in the land here. So essentially, that's what the dry on dry is where you lay down the dry crayon onto dry paper, and then you add the water to allow the pigment to dispense. So the next one we're going to look at is going to be the wet on wet. So I'm just going to grab a number 10 brush this time, just a number 10 round, and I'm going to shade in the area that we'll be using. Don't forget to keep a dry brush or paper towel on hand to soak up extra waters or puddles if you have them. So now I'm just going to take the dry crayon and directly onto the wet paper, I'm going to actually apply the pigment. So, and you see how rich and vibrant it comes out? And it immediately has a watercolor. Just twisting, just kind of forming a poppy here. I happen to like them. There we go. Just, you know, when you see how that dispenses, you can draw your stem in. A couple of leaves here. Grasses. Just so you guys can see. But do you see how dark and vibrant? Now, whenever you lay the crayon down, dry onto, so sorry guys, I just now seen that was supposed to be our wet on wet, and I did dry on wet, but that's okay. So we'll do wet on wet over here in the dry on wet section. But I just paid attention to that guy. I'm so excited about the video, I just wasn't paying attention. But as you guys can see, and we'll just correct those headings in a minute, the pigment holds really well when you lay it down dry onto a wet surface. Now, keep in mind that when you do that, it will be harder to dispense and get rid of those lines. But I think that particular technique works really, really well with shading especially. So now we'll use this little section over here where we have dry on dry, and we'll do wet on wet instead. I'm going to dip my tip of my crayon in water, and then again, wet on wet, I'll draw. And you guys can see automatically what happens. Beautiful, beautiful. The pigment disperses in the water and everything. It's really, really nice. Really, really nice. You see the effect that it makes, and that's when you dip the crayon into water, and you apply that wet crayon onto a wet background. And I'm just gonna grab a paper towel here so that I can keep everything neat and tidy, I'm gonna just wipe that crayon up a little bit. Okay, and then the next one that I use on a regular basis, I'm gonna slide this over, is from the palette. So we're gonna lay down a couple of colors here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Making it look somewhat like a palm tree. And I'm going to then grab my brown off the palette, and we're just gonna create a trunk for our tree here. Just like with paint, you can create shadows too. Now, I could actually take my black crayon or my dark gray crayon here and use those to make the shadow, but we're gonna actually see if we can do some color mixing with these, where we use the brown, the dark brown, and we're gonna use the cooler blue, cobalt here. So this is, we'll use cobalt. And we're just gonna kind of mix those on the palette to see if we can make a grayish color. With my brush, and then we'll just mix these up here and see what we get. So I'm just gonna go in here with this tone and add some shadow to the tree. And of course, that's not the best I can do with this, but I just want to show you guys the different ways and the different techniques that you could use, or some of the different techniques that you could use. I mean, you can even splatter with this. See, I'm just gonna take all of this and water it up, and then just splatter. Just like paint. Love them. I think that these are a very fun medium. Very fun. You can do your little loose paintings with them. Yeah. So, now that I've shown you guys a few of the techniques that I use, I'll just hold it up so you can see it. And again, that was the dry on dry from the palette. This was actually the dry on wet. And this is the wet on wet. All right. So now that I've shown you guys a few of those techniques, I am going to move on into doing a little quick tutorial with these. And this is just a piece of 6x6 Master's Touch watercolor pad, 140-pound cold press acid-free paper. And I actually taped it down on the back so that I wouldn't have a border on this one. And we're going to start off by using the dry on dry technique, and then the other one that I'll probably be using a lot in this one will be the dry on wet. course, it's a crayon, so it doesn't give you as much precision with the dry on dry as like maybe a color pencil would, which we will eventually be breaking into color pencil tutorials as well. Watercolor pencil tutorials as well. But it still lays down a nice layer of pigment, and you can maneuver it and turn the tip until you can get into those little small cracks and crannies that you need to. Guys, you have to just bear with me. Keep in mind, this is my very first landscape, or this is, in case you guys did not know, my very first landscape with watercolor crayons. I typically use them on cards and for painting florals. And I decided that I would, for the first time, attempt a landscape with them with this tutorial. Okay, guys, so there you have it, a landscape in watercolor crayons. I probably could have put a lot more detail into this, but at this point, I know this video is already long enough, so I did want to go ahead and kind of do some finishing touches on it and wrap the video up. I love the fact that the watercolor crayons allow you to just really let loose and have fun and really not take yourself or the painting too seriously and to just create. I mean, it makes you feel like a kid while using a more grown-up adult product. Again, these were student grade, watercolor crayons. So we will be looking at some professional grades. This was Faber Castell. Again, this is the one that we used in today's tutorial. I will say that I do think that they're probably more suited to floral design than landscapes. As you can see, this is a painting I showed you guys earlier that was done with the crayon. So you can really get some good artistic value out of them. I would not write them off as something. I am going to continue to use them, and more than likely I might put up another tutorial or two as the channel goes on. But in the meantime, I hope you guys learned something. Don't forget that if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and hit the subscribe so that you can be caught up and up to date on all the latest content. Please share. Use the comment section. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this medium. What did you think of the crayons? Is it something that you would use? Something that you would even introduce to your class to use if you are a teacher? Head on over to the Thrifty Apprentice Facebook page and like us there. There are posts that go up all the time concerning topics that are on the YouTube channel and even some that aren't. I would love for you guys to start sharing the things that you do so that we can all get to see the wonderful things that you're creating. With all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And remember, just keep painting, just keep painting, just keep painting, just keep painting.